Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to the Scratchicus Academy. It is Monday again, which means we are back in Junera. Few things. First, please check out all the links that are coming up in chat now. And also a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Bird in the Storm. We can see all their links down there, and also Mageham Press. Other than that, we are minus Paula today, sadly, but we are going to hop down and say hello to the very lovely Tool School of Wow.
Hey, how are you doing? I am super excited about tonight because we've left off right in the middle of all the action happening. We had our GM intrusion and all the things. I am Tall Squall. I will be playing Tolan Folk, who is a sort of retired seeker and who has lots of history here in this wonderful world of Karnan and Junera. And I'm looking forward to see what happens with Stones, Sassy Stones, and Averick, and Tuva, and Shadow Stalkers, and all the things.
Ah, Sassy Stone. One of my favorite things so far has just been that Averick and the Rock don't get on, but it's one of my favorite things. Then we're going to hop around to the very lovely V, or the Crafting Muse.
Hi everyone, I'm V. You can find me over on YouTube, and tonight I'm going to be playing Nadi. She is a magic user with her attitude-filled familiar friend Prema, who likes to add in his 2 cents whenever possible. And right now she is learning that she has some abilities, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them.
Awesome, thank you. And last but certainly not least, Julie.
Hi, I'm
Charlie. Sorry.
You're fine. Hi, I'm Julie. I play Charlie, who is a young magic user who really just doesn't know what's going on right now and has only just seen these shadow things for the first time now. So that's exciting. And yeah, I see where this goes because I love that tension.
Awesome. And last week was where we left our group in, well, Paula had just gone in to see the Seers as the door had closed, and her final text she did not read. And over at Broom Bindings, these shadow stalkers, these shadow people, could sense something within the shop, and they tried to get in. And Tolan, what I like to call Home Aloned them through the door handle and sort of lit it up for the first time, and you got this brief look at this very humanoid face that didn't look quite right. And then a GM intrusion where we saw these creatures chasing this flash of red, this small child Tuva, down the street and out of your vision. And this is where we find you, still in Broom Bindings, as you see this happen.
I'm rushing up to the window just to see how fast they're going, I suppose. Did they all just turn in unison and just bolt after her? Or are they taking a second to start moving after?
Some of them took a second. You could see the one that was shocked effectively because it really staggered back, paused, and it was almost like it moved in slow motion. And they didn't sprint straight away. In fact, there's 3 in particular. 2 of them are sprinting. One of them, which you can guess is probably the one that got shocked, is half staggering, sort of getting faster and faster, but it's not straight out of that. But you can see that flare of red disappear around the corner as you're sort of pressed up against this window, and you sort of lose line of sight as she disappears.
Can we still see the shadow creatures though, even though she's turned the corner?
She's turned the corner, and you can see them following the corner round, they're disappearing around the corner after her.
Because Nadi would want to use her hedge magic and do a lightning bolt strike between the 2 of them, just to kind of make it seem like it's thunder and lightning storm.
You could probably get the one definitely that was at the back, this poor shadow I always feel sorry for that keeps getting shocked. You could probably reach that one, but the other 2 have taken off. So if you want to roll,
Okay, yeah.
For
Let's
that.
let's try that and see if that works because Nadi does not like that at all.
Mm.
So let me see here. That is using it. So it's an intellect.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what are you trying to do? Like hit in between it to stop, like to jolt this thing, or actually hit this thing?
I'm trying to like have it so it looks like it's just sort of like a freak lightning bolt that maybe even strikes between the slower guy and the faster ones is like maybe a means to sort of distract them.
Yeah, you can. In fact, Julie was just sort of looking out this. You do see very quickly, almost quickly as like the shot went up the creature, this crack of lightning strike the path very quickly, and again light it up briefly, and it staggers to a halt. And you watch it linger where this lightning struck. And in fact, it looks down at the ground and it looks up and it kneels very slowly down and starts to touch the floor where this lightning struck this cobbled stone. And almost again, you see that nose twitching and sniffing. And it lays its hand on the floor, and you can see it's almost like not like a residue of Nadi's magic. So is Prima like silver right now? So would the residue be silver Nadi?
Well, we're both agitated, so he's probably a little more like reddish gold than anything else.
You can see it almost like steam as it's been raining. It's almost like it's evaporating up, and you see it sort of reach down, touch it, and actually taste it before standing up again, sniffing the air and starting to move, not at a run now, at a slow pace, but it does keep moving. And the others have disappeared around the corner, which Charlie, you can see just round to the right, one of the alleyways down by Broom Bindings.
I'm gonna like fumble at the door, honestly, and just be like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna try and help her. And start running, except what I'd like to do is get higher than the road. So like using that far step ability to just more like go up and either go along like balconies or even lower rooftops, that kind of thing, and also try and get a view of where they're going, the other ones.
Yeah. Okay, you can see like next to Broom Bindings, there's some other shops and they've got like awnings out, they've got lower ledges, and you can easily, with what you've done, especially with Fast Step, get up and up as quickly as you can and sort of head off in the direction, and you can see the road curve round to the right, and it splits off into like 3 smaller alleyways in different directions. And the one at the back, you see it's like it's lost the other 2. It's very confused. It's stopped. It's almost like it's lost the scent. It's not really doing anything anymore. It's sniffing the air and standing very, very still. But the other 2 you can see running around the corner where you can from the top, and you see Tuva sprint. And it's almost like a flash of red as this red panther is just thundering after her.
Seem to be going about the same speed. I know she can go real fast, like almost supernaturally so, but are they keeping pace? Or are they limited to like human speed?
They seem to be just keeping it a normal pace. It's not like superhuman or anything like that. They're sprinting. In fact, they're almost like staggering. By them moving fast, you have noticed whilst they were outside the shop window, they were very upright. When they were moving slowly, they were very almost robotic. And you really begin to spot their blindness with this as they reach out to the sides of the walls, almost pulling themselves along and almost half galloping along them, and using that as part, almost like ricocheting themselves off of these narrow streets, following the scent, like they're chasing a fox.
I'm gonna try and catch up.
Okay. And back in Broom Bindings, what is Tolna Nadine doing?
Tolan looks at Nadi. Not sure if he would have recognized her hedge magic or not, but mainly because he is more focused on the stone, Averick and Clyde, and just looks to them and goes, "We need to get you and this someplace safe."
We need to get the Tova too.
Who's Tova?
The little red streak. She's a child, 9 years old, being chased by these things.
Can you catch up with Charlie? I'm just thinking if we run and leave things here, they just as easily, more of them could come here, or they could double back and we could lose everything.
Yes. You know where shipping district is?
Yes.
My house is 2 blocks back from the main docking area.
Okay.
There are a lot of terrariums in my greenhouse.
Very good. We'll try to meet up there.
Yes, there's a key under a flower pot. It's purple with a pink dish.
I'll meet you there once we try to figure out a way to get things secure here.
Okay. Be safe.
You as well. And then I'll look to Averick. Is there still room in the cellar? The old wine cellar from when it was a cafe before?
Well, yeah. But hang on. What is happening? Are we going after? What are we doing? We can't just leave it as a kid.
Charlie and Nadi will be able to take care of that. We can't have the sphere, you, Clyde, fall into their hands.
Why me?
Well, because right now you're the only person who can shut it up.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No. I can do that. And he sort of looks over at it, and as you've covered it with like this napkin, as those things, and he walks over, and you see him go near it, and he touches it briefly, and there's that static again as he sort of flexes his hand back, and he scoops out, but don't start, and starts walking over to behind the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Do I see how big this orb is now?
Yeah, it's about this big.
Okay, hold on 1 minute, and she's gonna go into her belt and pull out that bag that I got that makes things look invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in here. At least it makes it look like something's not quite there.
That's wonderful.
What is that? Like Averick just for a moment pauses because he's never seen something.
I got from very nice woman from Ledris. She gave to me, and Paula got some nice fan too things. So it's supposed to like hide things and keep from pickpockets to get stuff.
Or for pickpockets to find. Okay, whatever. And she just sort of takes the bag and starts pushing this thing in it and tying it up. And Tolan, you can hear. The only way I can describe it is that humming beat again. If it could sound disgruntled, it does. At being shoved in a bag. And Averick is sort of ignoring it and just pulling that back this mat behind the bar, and you can see an old trapdoor.
And just because of Averick and his leg, I can take the bag while you go down. And I'll be right down. I'm right behind you. We have to keep.
You better be. And he sort of starts you can hear that clank as he sort of almost awkwardly goes down, because then it's half ladder, half steps.
Right.
And you see him sort of reach into his pocket and pull out this crystal that just lights up, and he holds it up because there's no lights down in this.
Right.
As he disappears into the darkness, Clyde half stumbles, half sort of gets down.
Same sort of awkwardness.
Yeah, it's that same awkwardness as he heads into the cellar.
Tolan sort of looks at the bag and goes, I know, but just for a moment, deal with it. As talking to the stone.
Mm.
And then grabs, as he goes down, I think he'd if he spots one of Aggie's tins of biscuits, he kind of grabs that, puts it under his arm, and heads down as well, and then closes the hatch behind him.
Okay. And Nadi, what are you doing as you see all this happen?
I watch them go down, see the hatch go down, and I'm actually gonna try and cover it up with a table and chairs so it's not something that could be seen. And then I'd like to see, I'm not sure how far, because I have telepathic. It says within a short range, so I'm not sure what that definition is, but I'd want to try and connect with Charlie.
Okay.
To communicate with her to find out where she's gone to catch up.
Okay, well, Charlie's up, so it's not quite as far. So I'd say as soon as you leave that shop, you can definitely sense Charlie around. You can sense a lot of stuff right now. It's almost like you've just not opened your head, but it's like you hear everything. But you hear the sounds coming from people around you. You hear the waterway. And it's like you're filtering through static and you lock on to Charlie.
Okay. Now do we go. Knock, knock, don't freak out, it's me.
You honestly do feel something at the door. It gives a bit though, and after like a moment of hesitation, you hear like a stumble like far away.
Tile falls off somewhere.
Yeah. But kind of pauses and just like, Nidhi?
Yes, me. Where are you? I'm going to catch up.
I'm on a roof. Follow the road. They're headed south. There's one that isn't going as fast and may have stopped. The one that was almost struck by lightning. I don't know, but the other one, I'm gonna try and get to go towards the season tree.
Okay, you try and get her. I'll catch up and see what I can do behind. And then just talk to me whenever, because I can kind of keep this going for a while.
Get a slightly like uneasy vibe at that, but
promise just to talk. I am not invading. Promise, not
Right.
snooping. Just saying hi.
Get the equivalent of like a nod. I was just gonna keep running.
Okay.
So then I'd go riding out of Bruin Bindings, probably even like flipping the sign to closed, and start running in the direction Charlie told me to go.
And you can sprint in that direction. And Charlie, as you run, you actually don't see Tuva straight away. What you see are these flashes of red and green light, almost like shields coming up, and you can tell she's just throwing back, not even looking. She's just throwing back these like energy. There's just these barriers, and you see every time they block part of the alleyway and fizzle out as soon as she loses her concentration, sprinting again and again. You see as these things reach the barrier, they sort of pause and sort of recoil, but very quickly pass through them. And then they seem to get faster with each time. And you can see from your rooftop space something Tuva can't see. There is a dead end up ahead, and she's running straight for it.
How far away am I?
Depending on what you're trying to do, if you're using your quick step again, you could probably be there as she starts to arrive at the...
Okay, that's kind of my intention, is to try and reach, like catch up with her as she's reaching that dead end. And I don't know if I can bring her with me with that, if it takes a bit more effort, but if I can try and bring her up.
Okay, so you round in this corner, you sort of stumble, well not stumble, but you can definitely hear the clatter of the tiles. You get, they don't seem to react to sound, so you can be as loud as you want. And the tiles are still a little bit slippery from the rain, from this thunderstorm that was going on. So I just need you to make a speed check just to see how you keep your balance. Yeah, you slip and you stumble. You're still moving fast. If anything, you're moving faster now because you're falling. You can fall but pick yourself back up, but you're sort of half sliding, half climbing down these tiles in this sloped roof. There's just that bit of wet moss that you weren't expecting on the top of this roof, and you can even grab some of the vines that are sort of crawling over the top of this very terracotta slated roof. And as you look over down into this alleyway, you see Tuva with her hands reached out, just propelling these barriers out in front of her. She's screaming something at them. You can tell it's like, get away, but she's in a panic. She's freaking out. Some of the words are inaudible. And you see Brenna, that red panda, has actually grown bigger and bigger. And the only way I can describe it is fluffed up, as it is snarling, and its eyes are blazing red as it gets right in front of her and just behind the shield, as you see these two shadow stalkers start to walk their way in. They're not running anymore. They've seen that they can smell how close she is, and they just start walking in a straight line. And as they get to the barrier, they can't quite get through. But can you make an intellect check for me, please, Charlie? From your distance up, you look and you see Tuva is propelling so much energy. Like, if anything, you can hear this Inakwe screeching at these things as this red panda gets bigger and bigger. It's bigger than Tuva now, creating almost a shield itself. And as these things walk towards her first layer of shield, which is almost like a rippled effect, it being visible if you couldn't see them walking up to them, they touch it and they resist it. However, you see when one of them reaches out, it screams as it holds its hand in this barrier. It recoils, and it's as if you see that barrier get absorbed into this thing as it starts moving towards Brenna and Tuva. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna hop down, and I want to try something because I don't know if it'll work, but neither does Charlie. And she kind of just like lands next to Tuva and almost like a little in front of her, and opening up to whatever is around her, kind of in the same way as when she was looking for Miles. It's like she takes in a deep breath and absorbs something around her. And she's just going to try and send out that same kind of disruptive energy that she's kind of afraid of. But in that same way that she wants, that she can disrupt sort of electronic things, she wants to disrupt their sense of where they are, or at least make it so overwhelming for them that they don't know where Tuva and I are.
Okay. Can you roll for me, please?
Yes.
Remember, you can spend.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like, what
advantage.
do we have in the terms of assets?
You have yourself have 3 advantages, but also you have effort.
Okay.
Feel free to use both if you want.
I would like to.
Roll for me.
Okay. So I would just roll with effort on both, but take the higher one.
Yeah, just take that one. Also, thank you, Anonymous Donator, for that £50 that's just come in. That is more trinkets, so thank you so much.
Yay.
Oh,
I mean,
roll the
can
advantage.
it-
You might have a 20 on this
can
next
it be
one.
better? That's what I want to know.
it doesn't matter. You've got
Got the 18.
It's still pretty darn good.
So the scene that you have landed in, you have landed very comfortably just in front of Tuva, and you suddenly realize how big Brenna has got. She's sort of up to where your ribs start. There's this huge rib panda sort of turns to look at you. You see the eyes dull a little bit at seeing you. Those teeth don't stop being bared, but it looks back in the direction. You hear Tuva actually yell your name briefly, sort of in like a gasp, but she doesn't realize that you've literally dropped out of the sky. So describe this for me, how Charlie does this.
As she kind of takes a second to like center herself, everything around her kind of dims a little bit, including the barriers that are up. They don't go out, but everything just sort of gets a little quieter, and it honestly does work like Silver's EMP, where it's just this outward just wave of static that's like mostly black and white, and it disrupts color even. There is a blue-purple undertone to it, but it's like there's even little like pixels here and there that it's just like it is disrupting everything around.
And Tuva, if anything, or at the most you hear Charlie, is literally just doof, and it's almost like a sound wave as well, sort of hits this area. And the D, you can hear this from where you're running to, and it's like you feel air just sort of push out. In fact, you feel your hair whips past you as you do this. And Tolan, down in this wine cellar, you can see that above something starts to shake, and the dust from above the floorboards starts to drip down on you almost, as Averick and you sort of sit under here. And Charlie, these things scream an unworldly scream as they clamp their hands over their ears. Now these things can't hear, but this has done something, and you see those like pixels start flicking up around them. Even Tuva clamps her hands over her ears for a brief moment as these things, one of them runs away, one of them sort of not collapses on the spot, but down on its knees and literally grabbing its head, and it is freaking out. And for a moment, there is dead silence as you feel like this ripple goes through the street, this alleyway. And Tuva grabs your arm. It's like, we gotta go!
Yeah, she like kind of staggers for a second, but is very much about like, we're leaving.
This way, as you see her climb on top of Brenna, and she holds her hand out for you two too. As Brenna starts to just solidify, and you can see Brenna shrinking a little bit, but she holds her hand out for you two.
Alright, I'm hopping on.
And as you do, she's like, hold on to the fur, but don't pull too tight. And she clamps herself down, and Brenna runs and sprints and starts taking off up one of the walls as soon as you get there, back onto the rooftop where you came, sort of running towards the direction of the season tree, away from here. And Tuva, you see, am I frozen again?
Just after you said it.
But it's a lovely pose. It's not like an awkward one.
And I am pointing towards the season tree, like, no, head there.
Yeah, and you're sort of running over this, and she goes, put this on, and she reaches up into like part of her jacket, and you can see she's actually got one over the top of her head now that the hood is down, so just in case. And she hands back to you this completely plain white mask, which is now your trinket.
Ooh.
And you see her pull it down, and her face completely changes to someone unrecognizable. These are brand new features. These are brand new eye color, everything. And you see her hair slowly start to change just into a small black bob as she runs towards the season tree. You can tell that Brenna is not used to this amount of energy as Brenna is getting smaller and smaller, and you realize you have to get off, but you can get to the edge of the roof and you can see Nadie. Nadie, what are you doing at this point?
Where's that third one?
That third one is just, it's not that you can see it, but you can guess it's around the corner because you can hear those footsteps, that groaning, that sniffing, that almost like, the only way I can describe it is like a snake, you know, when it tastes the air. It can't see you, it doesn't seem to be looking at you at the moment. It seems very dazed. It has been shocked twice. So it's more sort of standing in point, and it's like it's trying to find a path.
And it's still raining and there's still water everywhere, right?
Yep.
Oh, I'm doing onslaught to attack him. And I'm going to use, I have an advantage too, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so I'm going to do advantage with the onslaught. And this, let's see if it works first and I'll explain. All right, so 2 rolls on intellect?
Yes, please.
Okay. 1. Oh, come on, please.
Oh, yes! This is
Awesome.
Go for it, go for it.
Okay, so I'm going to run around the corner hearing him and actually stop as soon as he's in view. And my eyes start to shift from this very bright teal blue to almost like a very stormy gray sky, stormy ocean thing. And you could almost swear that you could even see waves inside the color of my eyes. And I'm just going to hold my hands out to my side and start slowly lifting them up. And the water that's on the street, the water that's sheeting down from the downspouts, it's all going to gather into these tunnels of water, gather together. And I'm going to bring my hands together. And it's going to become this one funnel of intense water that's going to shoot directly at him and just basically onslaught him with this full force of water that has just come from all around me.
And that last moment before it hits, you see it catch your scent and turn round as this force of water strikes it full on, and you send it shooting back. If anything, Charlie, this is the point that you see this water starting to like gather out from not just the waterways, not just the rain in the sky itself that slowly seems to form towards Nadie, but also in between the cobbles of these pavements. It's literally like the area is dry with how much has been drawn from this, and you see this thing, whatever it is, get flung back, and it tumbles and rolls, and it is thrown straight into the waterway. And Charlie, from your position, you can see it sink. And the D, it's gone. How are you feeling?
I'd be checking with Charlie right away.
Yeah. You can't see Charlie. You can't see Charlie, but Charlie can see you.
Yeah, but we have the mental connection too.
Yes. Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just above you, actually. We're fine.
Okay. Still need to get the season tree?
It's probably best. Just to be safe.
Alright, get there now. And then I would just start running in that direction.
You can run, you can sprint to the season tree, and you can see it in your sight. You can see that glow up in the air. And Tuva to you, Charlie's like, come on, and starts shuffling down. You can tell there's like a happiness in her voice, but it's pure adrenaline. You can see her little hands as she's climbing are shaking. You suspect the energy and the magic that she used just to keep them back from that point in time has drained her completely, as you saw. She was probably running for a bit, but she starts to almost shakily climb down. This red panda, now back to normal size, clinging to her back as she shifts down, and she hearing you talk to Nadine, takes her mask off, and she's back to that long blonde hair and blue eyes as she climbs down. And she still offers you a hand as you climb.
I'll take it just to make her feel better. But I'm also really keeping like an eye on her just to like catch her if she falls.
Oh, you can easily be holding her more than she thinks she's.
Yeah.
And she sort of looks at you sheepishly. Thank you.
No problem. Still look out for one another.
Okay, and she sort of actually gives you like a little bit of a slap on the arm and starts walking towards the season tree, as that's where you've told her to go. But you get the sense she's shy, not that she's confident. And she just wants to get away from this alley. And whilst this is happening, what is happening in the cellar of brew and bindings?
I think Tolan, we look around us as this, basically the dust starts to fall basically from the underside. We see all this dust as this sort of low, sort of flows through the place. And I can sort of imagine if there might be a couple, bottles of wine and thing down there. I assume basically the wine racks are pretty much empty, but I can sort of like that rattling, almost like a very low, great earthquake type idea. And Tolan sort of looks at Averick and goes, well, that either bodes very well or very ill. And from what I've seen so far, I'd put my money on Nadine and Charlie being able to take care of themselves.
What the hell was that? And I don't just mean that. And he sort of points up, and you see more dust fall, and just sort of like an extra bit just sort of plops down on his head as he sort of tries to get rid of it. He's like, "What is this?"
I don't know, but I know we saw what happened when that boy Noah was attacked and was just touched by one of them. It drained nearly all of the magic out of him and out of his Inanakwe. We can't allow that to happen to you with your leg and with Clyde.
But what about with my leg? What makes me different? Why do I have to hide down here? There was a kid out there.
Your magic's not as strong as it used to be.
It doesn't mean I can't help.
You are helping right now, because what they were after is this. If we would have gone running out there, we could have either taken it right to them where we could have been overwhelmed, or we could have left it here and they could have walked right in and walked out with it.
And you can see a frustration. There's a frustration on his face, like he gets what you're saying.
Right.
But he's not happy about it.
I'm not happy about it either. I've had no magic for 8 years.
And mine's useless.
It's not useless. You're a bit out of practice, is all.
And
when was the last time you consciously were using your magic?
I poured my tea a week ago with it.
It's like anything else. You have to keep up with it.
Yeah, but it's not there anymore. Not properly.
I wish it was. You know, if I could somehow go back and change that day.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just frustrated. I'm sat in a wine cellar. I'm covered in dust. And
With a sassy rock.
there's a sassy rock and you can see him glare over. He sort of checks where it is quickly because it is fairly invisible, quickly grabs it and pulls it closer to him again. I've got a rock with an attitude, and I'm not quite as strong as I was. I'm sorry, I didn't know she was in here. I just want to help.
We both have to learn how to help in new ways.
Yeah, but like, I make coffee.
I know. You were... You were talented, the likes of which the Academy and the Church had not seen in a generation.
I didn't want to be a part of either of those things, so that's not the problem here.
I know. What I'm saying is, it's all well and good for this to be a sanctuary and recovery. But if you want to get back out there,
Would you come with
start working magic again.
Would you come with me?
You know I can't. What use am I?
Ha! Like, and he sort of points at you. He's like, that's like saying the same for me. You said you got to find like a usefulness or help some way or the other.
Well, my usefulness was telling us to get down in the cellar and stay protected.
And my usefulness is saying, why not give it a go again? Come on. I mean, I like coffee. I can come back and do coffee.
What is it you suggest we do? We have something we don't understand. We've got very little to go other than for that something needs to wake up. Me, you, it, the city.
And he sort of slouches back. He sort of sat on the stairs that you came down. I don't know. I just...
Now, even remember, back when we were seeking, and you made these same expressions and groused the same way when I insisted that we looked over all the maps, we got prepared, we knew where we were going, and we did research. You hated it then, and I know you probably hate it now.
Yeah, I do, but like, other bits were great.
Right. Now, this points to the stone. This is not something that we just run out because we heard about some new ruin somewhere and go running out, not knowing what we're getting into, not knowing what we were going to face. We need to dig. We need to try to find things out. Now, you know, the last person that can go into the library to get the books and things we need is Tolan Falk. But you...
Yeah. Well, me, and haven't we got that, who's the other one? Paula. She keeps coming in here. Like, she's coming in here more regularly now. Doesn't she work in the library?
She does. However, right now she's taking him... Ooh, I don't think I know that. I can't remember. Did she say on the phone that she was meeting with the Seekers?
I think she said on the church with the... Did she say she was with the Seers or just the church? I'm trying to remember now.
Regardless, she was...
Going to the church. You knew she was going to the church.
Going to, I would bet if she's going to the church and Deacon Mox is involved, her next stop, if not today, then soon, is with the Seers. So anything that we potentially...
She's gone to the church.
That's
Why?
what she said on the phone before I felt I needed to let her know I was listening.
Why? Do we know why?
Well, apparently Deacon Marks is entangled with these shadow people. These...
Of course he is. Like, and Everett sits back again, just a bit tetchy. Of course he is.
I mean, he was never fond of magic, and these things tend to drain it. And, very interesting connection. When the shadow person, seeker, whatever it was, stalker, we need to come up with what we'll call them, grabbed and drained the magic out of Noah, the boy. It left a mark, almost a silver handprint upon his arm. It's almost like when you put, almost like a handprint in frost upon its arm. Later that night, I saw Matthias Marks, Deacon Marks' brother.
That's his. Wow. Like, sort of hearing the first news that that's his brother, it's like, he's related to.
Yes, well, but here's the interesting part. He has strange, silver, frosty tattoos, I had thought, upon his arms. And he told me that when he was younger, his brother did that to him, the deacon.
What?
He tried to shrug it off, but somewhere,
Mean.
I don't know yet, but something either Deacon Marks knows about or has information on this draining of magic. That same process is being used, seems to be probably less directed, more primal by these shadows.
Okay. Right, and he just sort of reaches over and scratches Clyde's head. He's like, what do we do now? What are we doing now? As like, this rumbling has stopped. Whatever this wave was, it's gone still. You can't hear anything. In fact, actually, it was incredibly silent.
I think we have a decision to make. And I do think our initial instinct was best, is this sphere cannot be left alone. We told Nadie, or I told, we were there, we told Nadie that we'd meet her at her greenhouse.
Okay.
It's where the terrarium is that might help hide this.
Okay.
So, slowly, carefully, I think we should start to head that way down to the docks district.
It's been a while since I've been down there.
Well, for me as well.
Okay, well, I don't want to sit in here much longer because, and he's like, well, you could just see like a sneeze coming with the amount of dust that's fallen on all of you. And he sort of reaches over and just brushes some off your shoulder as it's sort of settled.
Yes, I agree. But I also know we probably can't hide there. I'm sure that would chafe just as badly as hiding down here. We should probably think about coming up with a way to make maybe this space a safe room or something here at Bruin Bindings, perhaps a place for all of us to come hide in if we get overwhelmed.
Well, things are getting weirder and weirder, so... And there's a back entrance where I load in some of the stuff, so technically this takes us straight back out into the, well, not the high street, but an adjoining street.
Back to the back, the second one over. That's convenient.
was like it when I came here.
Certainly having more than... We don't want to... Any good rat warren has more than one way out, so... Not much with magic anymore, but I still know how to make a gadget or two.
Should try the back way then. And he sort of stands up.
It sounded like Nadi put a table over top of the hatch anyway. I'm not sure if we could push it off, so...
And he sort of looks up and says, well, I'm glad there is another exit then, and starts walking over.
Well, if we had to, I can always blow it off, but... He sort of looks. He sort of gives Averick a smile. No, has he seen? He's seen Tolan's version of getting.
Yeah, like Averick is like, I want a shop left at the end of it, so we're going to take the back entrance.
The China might not survive.
I've got a really good
got biscuits.
teapot I like. Oh yeah, bring the biscuits. And he starts walking to the back, sort of Clyde following, and. It's not so much a door, but it's like a keystone.
Okay.
And it's it can easily be pulled out, and then you see another wooden trap door, sort of just up above.
Mm-hmm.
And you will both have to push to get it up, but you can both push, and there's that really old creak of metal hinges. Like this is not used, and you can peer up into this cobbled street. It's still raining, and like you can see a little bit of water start dripping in. Averick sort of like, it's a bit soggy out still.
Just because Tolan, I do think he probably because he's Tolan, he probably like takes out a little can of oil and like as we're going by, even though we're in a hurry and like horrible things are going on, it's just like, well, that will never do, and starts oiling the hinges.
They sort of, come on.
It doesn't help if it screeches and for blocks around. Just give me a moment. And
it doesn't help if this is the time that it takes us to get to Nadi's. And then now, like, he's out in the street, like, crouching down, looking at you through this gap. Like, get out of there.
See?
I'm seeing, but we're also... You wanted to move fast.
And quietly, and he comes up then.
This isn't quiet. Like it's like you're arguing in the street. Like,
shuts it down.
Done.
No harm, no foul.
Get moving, and he starts walking with Clyde, like splashing in these puddles, like stopping at each one every now and then, rolls in it, and then gets back up and starts.
Oh, lovely, Clyde. That's gonna make a lovely house guest you'll be.
As always, and you can head off towards the dock area. And Charlie and Nadi, you can meet up. And Nadi, you see Tuva there. She's got her hood down. She looks sopping wet and grubby. This mask perched on top of her head. I don't know where your mask is in this, Charlie. Did you just pop it in like your...
Yeah, I just have like an inside pocket.
And she looks very sorry for herself, and she looks very upset, but she looks you up and down, is like, does like a sniff, is like, I really like your welly boots.
I would have seen her as I'm running to, and I would have like just scooped her up and hugged her, knowing that she had been chased.
She doesn't resist. She actually just like lays her head down on your shoulder, and this red panda sort of pads over and just sits down by where you are.
Prema would be like patting his shoulder.
Yes, not saying anything, it's just there.
I have a smaller Piraeus crew. They're all yours, kid.
You just feel that nod in the side of your shoulder.
It's almost like keeping a lookout to see if these things are coming back, or if anyone has seen them and are like panicking in any sense.
Roll an intellect check for me, please.
And she's like wavering where she stands, but is playing it off.
You can look around, and you see where Nadi has come from. The cobbled street is completely dry. and there's hardly anyone out in the streets because it's been pouring with rain. However, you see sat underneath the season tree Matthias, who is just sat there. He's sort of looking over as if he's heard a commotion, but you see him very much in a book. But he looks over and he sort of pockets it and walks over to you. Is everything all right? Who is it? Is another one of you? And like looking at Tuva, so, and sensing this sort of like panic, worry, relief, sort of an all mixture of emotions. He's like, and you can see Sophia come out from underneath this very soggy collar. So, did I miss something? Because none of you look great, no offense.
I think it's okay now, but
Those creatures came out.
The ones from the library.
Yes, they went after this one, and she's literally like just like doing like that sway and pat thing.
Yeah, Tuva's like not perked up, but sort of looked over to just sort of almost eye Matthias up and down. No like smile, no angry face, just literally like taking in information. And he's just like gives her a little bit of a wave, and she puts her head back down. Is it? But everyone's okay. Well, what have you seen Paula at all? Has she come back? She wasn't with you. She didn't chase. They didn't chase her, did they?
No, Paula was not with us.
Okay, she must still be at the church then. I'm assuming that's where my brother took her.
She was with your brother?
And you see there's a distinct sign of upset on his face, but also kind of angry, like a stormy look. Yes, she was with my brother.
Well, that's a conversation for another day then, isn't it? We need to get this one back home.
Okay. And he's sort of looking at her again, and he's looking around, and she's like turning her face away from him. He's like, I know you. And you see Tuva just again look away from him, and Nadie doesn't see, but Charlie does, and she pulls her mask down over her face, and it quickly changes again. And he's like, you're Tuva. Hey, and she just ignores him. She outright ignores him and say, I know where her home is.
Something tells me you know who she is too.
Yes, she's a mischief maker.
No, you do know her then, that's great.
And again, you just sort of feel that disgruntled shuffle, as if she could turn her back to him while you're holding her. That's what she's trying to do. It's okay. I've been there often. This way. And he starts walking. And you walk through this rain. It's gotten much lighter now. It's not a downpour. And you walk for quite a bit, and you go down one of the alleyways, a fairly buzzing alleyway actually. And the street itself is very dry. It's very lit up. Lots of sort of bright yellow lanterns, orange, sort of all along here, mixed in with the plants themselves. In fact, you can see where people have put the shades of the lanterns around the flowers to magnify the light, sort of all the way along this street. It's almost daylight with how bright it is. Each side to side are all different on. Don't distract me. I'm trying to run again. All of these awnings left and right, and there's lots of chatter, there's lots of people, and you actually have to meander your way through. And sort of Matthias, you can see weaving through, sort of waving to some people here and there as they chatter. And you come up to this shop, this bar that's open on the street. There's no door on it. It's a bar all the way around. and it says Oodles, Jin's Oodles across the top. And this is a bar, and you just see very simple stools all the way around. It's packed. It is absolutely packed. And you see a very smiling woman behind the bar, very tall, long blonde hair, sort of all tied up basically in half plait, half knot. She's got an apron on, and it's buzzing. Again, those orange and red glowing lights go throughout, like as the plants grow into the shop. As this is like a ramen bar, a noodle bar, this shop, and it's buzzing. You can see I've forgotten the word, vending machine type things that run all the way along the wall. And you feel Tuva take the mask off again as she sort of realizes where she is. And Matthias points to all of you. He's like, I come here for lunch and dinner and sometimes breakfast fairly often, so I'll leave you here. I need to get back home.
Matthias, thank you.
It's okay. It's what I do. And he starts sort of walking away. And you see him pull that jacket up over the top of his head. And he starts walking continuously down this alleyway. And Tuva sort of wriggles a little bit to get down. And she's like,
Okay, fine, you found out where I live. Well done. Now what? Blow my cover.
sort of like almost in a strop, crosses her arms. And the Red Panda copies.
Okay, so you live here, so
I told you my mum works from home.
Like, and you see this woman
Yeah.
sprinting up and down this bar with these just condiments everywhere, noodles being thrown into these bowls.
I think maybe, Kiro, it might be time to just let your mom know what happened.
Yeah, well. I'm gonna be
No.
grounded though.
No, I think we need to talk to your mother.
And you see like that proper head low, like like it's just she sort of just sort of pulls the hood down and just marches in, sort of leaving you both. Like, but you see her walk down this very small restaurant because it's tiny, it's really packed. As she marches up the stairs and disappears, this Red Panda like strutting after her, runs on its 2 feet for a little bit before falling on all 4 paws again and running after her. But you see this woman, and it is like a copy of Tuva behind the bar. And she hasn't seen Tuva come in. And you're starting to suspect the reason Tuva can get in and out is because of how busy Jin's Oodles is.
I'm going to look at Charlie. Well, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
She's going to need to know something's going on.
What do you want to tell her? Everything?
I don't know if she's going to get everything. Maybe just tell her that make sure she takes extra precautions. How many times have these things found us now?
No. I don't know. It seems like there's something every night.
Yeah, and they locked and loaded on that little one.
And now it's broad daylight.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I don't know if she'd be able to keep them away.
Not for long.
No.
I don't think any of us could.
Mm-mm.
Nutty, they get stronger.
It's concerning for sure. I just don't want to... I don't want to leave it and have it where, you know, something happens and her mother has no idea that something was going on.
Well, she should know, but I don't expect Tuva to stop
No,
any
she's
of
not.
her fun times, but maybe she could ask for help among her friends.
Yeah, you know, just get the word out, keep extra eyes on her, and of course she's not going to stop. I mean,
I wouldn't.
no. But, you know, forewarned, forearmed, that whole shindig of a saying, maybe. I just feel better, at least speaking to her. Maybe soften the blow and order something to take back to the house.
What's up for noodles?
You and me both. I like them.
So chased by people or monsters?
I don't think monsters would be a good word to use. Maybe just say some suspicious characters.
Cornered her?
Yeah, that'd probably be good. Give a vague description. You know, they were shadowy looking. Dark.
You didn't get a good look of them.
Yeah, so that might be a way just to at least give her something to work with at least.
Yeah.
I think if we tell her more about the sniffing and the...
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to help her or not. Okay, so I guess we'll just try and get her attention, maybe.
I suggest we wait in line.
You want to do the talking? You want me to do the talking?
I figure we could both chime in.
Okay.
So we hop in line for noodles.
And you can get towards like this bar, and this woman in this apron, this sort of very scruffy hair all tied up in half plait, half knot on top of her head, slides over to you and smiles and goes, "Hi, you're new here. What can I get you?"
First of all, yes, we are definitely ordering something, but we need to talk to you about Tuva.
And she sort of pauses, just like, was she done?
She's fine. She's home now, actually. She's upstairs.
Yeah, she just went up there, but it's not something she's done.
Excuse me a moment. And she just like looks at all of her other patrons like, can you follow me? And she's not in front of, and she sort of goes out and she's like, please, into my office. And she opens this door. It is not an office. This is like a room.
Stockroom.
It's basically a stock room. You're surrounded by all these ingredients. She's like, hi, sorry. You want to talk about Tuva? I'm Jen, by the way. And she holds her hand out.
Very nice to meet you. I'm Nadi.
I'm Charlie.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So we'd met Tuva before at the night market. And she seems like a nice kid. And we saw her running, and she kind of got cornered by some sketchy people, and so we like intervened. I don't know what they're after, but
just now?
yeah.
Wait, she was out just now. Well, you hear muttering, and you can tell it's not anger at Tuva. It's panic. It's trying to put the anger somewhere else than the fear, and it's like 7-8 p.m.
Okay, so it's still after school.
Yeah, it's not late. It's after
Yeah.
school, and she sort of straightens herself up. I said, thank you for telling me. Were these people apprehended?
Well, unfortunately, not necessarily apprehended, but I don't think they'll be bothering her anytime soon. But we do want you to know that best to keep an eye out for the people you're not exactly familiar with. They tend to dress in darker clothes, it looks like, and
she sort of has like a bit of a stop and puts like her hand over her face. She's like, I tried to go everywhere with her, but she just gets out.
she's a very active, intelligent little girl.
Yeah, she's like her dad. Yeah.
She's a sweet kid.
And she sort of half smiles. She's like, that's kind of what I'm worried about.
I just, we didn't want to let it go without you knowing something went on.
No, that's... Thank you, actually. Yeah. And you say you met her before?
Oh, yes, at the night market. We sat down and had a meal together.
Oh, and there's another realization that she doesn't know really what her daughter's doing. And she's like, did she have gravy?
I kept trying to have her use the napkins. She would not use the napkins.
Yeah. No, that's well. I'm glad of all the people she could have met or bumped into. She bumped into you both. I need to maybe watch her because locks don't work.
Yeah, she seems very knowledgeable about looks. Yeah.
Yeah, she's been breaking out for a long time after I've locked up the shop, so...
Well,
that's
maybe
fine.
just... I don't know if you have neighbors or anything like that, but maybe just kind of have the neighborhood know to keep an eye out for...
Yeah, she knows the neighbors. Like, as you can see, something's definitely happened there. Look, thank you, okay? It's nice to know that at least maybe she's found some other... Let me get you some noodles on the house because, no, please, like, my kid is adorable and wonderful, but she's a pain in the ass. So, like, please, just take some noodles to, like, you know, like, and she sort of, as she opens this store cupboard again, and you actually see the flare of her Inakwe that you didn't see before because it stayed behind the bar, almost as if it was watching. And you could see almost like a glaze over of her eyes where it was like she was watching both at the same time. As you see this very tall stalk pad up and down behind the bar, just walking. It's not doing anything. It's like it's just watching people. And she's like, come on, out the way, and sort of shuffles forward. She's like, please, just take a seat. I'll do that house special. And she starts like, you know, just you can smell this broth. You can see what looks like just behind the bar where you can look, just these trays of all these prepped things like seaweed, boiled eggs, like all these greenery, all these different vegetables, and some other veg that you don't necessarily recognize, but she's sort of cut them into slightly different shapes, and you see these hot steaming noodles poured into this broth. And very delicately, she lays each and every bit down. And you see this stalk, like once she's done, sort of place in its beak, place these napkins on the table, and these, like, I say the table, sorry, this bar and chopsticks brought up. So they sort of work fluidly with each other as these two bowls of steaming hot ramen get placed in front of you with these old spoons and everything. So please enjoy. I'm really sorry, I've got to keep moving. It's a busy one tonight when it's rainy. It's great for me. And she sort of keeps going, and you see her and this stalk almost very fluidly just weave in between each other, moving and picking up things. And we hop back over to Tolan and Averick as you are walking. And as you've come out of this side street, you see Matthias walking the opposite direction. He's got his blazer over the top of his head as he's sort of just walking in the other direction. You see Sophia sat on his shoulder, sort of almost holding on to a strand of his hair, sort of so she can stay underneath out of the rain as well.
Since we've got the orb on us, I don't think he's going to call out to Matthias, even though there's some part of him that kind of wants to explore more about his tattoos and sort of those frost symbols that are on there. But I think because they're trying to sort of be quiet, and especially with the orb on them and with the events of the evening, is just going to sort of note that Matthias was out and about, but not necessarily, call over to him or ask him. But I mean, I'd say we're trying to move sort of very, not sneaky as much as just warily, keeping an eye out for other people, certainly for shadows, but also just, again, Toland's general thing. The last thing he wants is to get accosted at some point by a concerned citizen while trying to just get himself down to the dock district.
What you will see around you is that there are more people in some of the back streets that you pass, not the ones you're walking down, but like you can hear chatting, you can get that glow on the stone from the bright lights that are still going. And you do see a couple, they seem to move in pairs as if like it's like a partnership, and that is those brown suits with that rising sun. They don't seem bothered by you. If anything, you're pretty sure half of them want the shift because it's like they're off the clock. And you can see them walking around, and two of them look up at both of you, and they just give you a smile and keep moving. They don't seem to recognize you or anything.
Yeah, I mean, he would have his collar pulled up, and certainly his new hat pulled down. So, just sort of make his way down along the canals and over those, the sort of little arch bridges, because from here, I mean, it's a bit of a ways to the dock district, correct? 10 blocks or so, or is it closer?
It'll be roughly that, especially if you're taking the main streets and everything.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Not look like we're sneaking, but also not be right in the middle of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can walk through this rain. And Everett's pretty quiet for a while. And he looks straight forward. He's not looking around. He's just moving, not doing much. And you just see that heavy sigh. And at the same time, like Clyde lets out like that, like as he's walking along. When we get to Nadi's, what do we do then?
Well, hopefully, if that terrarium is some sort of way to even further cloak this along with the bag, or at least have the immediate problem solved.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how to figure out more about this other than I feel as though we could spend days or months trying to get it to teach us as much as we teach it. And I'm feeling I'm worried. I'm worried that my focus was blinding me again. To have Nadi try to somehow reach out to it directly. She was too young, it's too soon.
I was young.
You were.
I still am young. He sort of corrects himself.
Yes, you are. And you're here with daft old man. He sort of chuckles hearing himself call himself daft after Aggie had called herself daft. You can still be a seeker. There's still so much out there.
I know. Maybe 1 point I will. If you'll come with me.
Look, there are always going to be people in this world whose own emptiness, whose own pain, whose own fears are projected out of them as malice towards others. That's not going away. My lot in this life is to be as big of target for all of that as possible, so that people like you, Charlie, Nadi, people I don't even know, don't become their targets.
And he sort of pauses and says, that's not a solution, Tolan.
But it's
They're going
his...
to do it anyway. Then why fight it? Do what you want. They're going to find it every single time.
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather it not find all of you. Just like we were talking about this being a beacon. I can be a beacon for all of that strife. Then it leaves you clear to find the joy that you deserve, the adventure that you wanted, the reason why you came to me instead of going to the church or going to the academy.
I don't want to be hidden by a beacon. Like it or not. Not gonna happen. Because as much as I hate to say it, you're not always gonna be here. I better get my practice in. And I know you hate that. I know you hate that so much.
It should have been years, decades. But because of my tunnel vision for what I was trying to achieve, it threw you out there far sooner than you should ever have been. And
you do remember that I came to you, right?
I do. But it was me who convinced you on that day to help me turn that artifact on.
And it was me who agreed and did it willingly. I know they say Stockholm Syndrome, you can argue about it as much as you want. I'm younger, remember, I've got more energy, I can argue for much longer.
I remember you being out of your mind after. It took you months to recover. And then when it didn't all come back, I could see that loss in your eyes. I saw it in your eyes tonight. I know you say you forgive me. But have you forgiven yourself yet?
he smiles. I don't think we should keep Nadine waiting.
You're right, of course.
And he smiles. And he starts to walk away. I won this argument, and he starts walking a bit faster towards the doctor.
Argument's not over yet.
Yes, it is. As soon as I'm out of hearing range, and he keeps walking.
He has to try to catch up.
Mhm. And we hop back to Nadine and Charlie as you finish up this ramen. You feel so full and so content with this ramen. And you're in a buzzing shop. You see Tuva every now and then poke her head around the top of the stairs to see if you're still there. And these sort of red ears flop around the side with her as they both look down. And every time you spot her, she immediately disappears back. And Jin comes over, is like, was everything good? Was everything, okay?
This was fantastic. Are you kidding me? Was this good? It was wonderful. Could I actually get two to go? Is that possible?
Yeah, no, I could do that. And she starts, you see her pull out almost like these plastic bowls with a lid on top, and she starts dishing up exactly the same that you had before, and then very carefully places them in this paper bag, rolls it up at the top, and as she's like, where's the string, and this stork comes over and just hands it, thank you, and starts wrapping up this paper bag and sort of hands it over to you thank you. And honestly, come by anytime.
Oh, you better believe it, because this was wonderful. I do need to owe you for these two.
It's fine. Just this once then. Just let me do this once.
Okay.
And you should be in bed. And she's sort of still looking at you, but you see Tuva whiz back upstairs as you hear those feet sort of hurry up the stairs. He's like, anyway, thank you again. You're so welcome here. Thank you.
Okay, and have a good night, and maybe I can help you out with that one every so often. Keep her busy.
I might need that. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to be around soon, but we actually do need to go. We're supposed to be meeting up with a couple other people.
Yes, of course. Thank you. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Okay.
I've totally snuck a tip under my other bowl that is easily equals 3 bowls.
Yeah. You do hear as you leave the shop, wait, as you hear, because you think she's probably pulled the bowl and seen.
Run.
And Nadine and Charlie, in your wellies, you can run with these other bowls of ramen. And I'm going to take a really quick bio. So.
Okay.
Sorry.
So sure.
There's a noodle shop. I'm so happy there's a noodle shop.
Oh my god, now I want
I want noodles so bad.
My stomach is audibly growling now from that description. So it's you might hear roar, and that's my stomach insisting on noodles. So, oh my god,
you all rocked the encounter. Go the 18, the natural 18, and the natural 20.
20? Oh, I was like, oh my god, that was just
so.
I just wanted to use magic.
I know, I've been wanting to break out the stuff. It's this is the time.
Okay.
Do cool things.
We should come back. What the hell are we going to do about this damn stone?
I have an idea.
You have an idea? Okay.
Yeah. Nadia's got a little something up her sleeve.
Okay.
We shall see, but she does need the greenhouse.
Yeah. No, and that's perfect. I'm great with that, because I'm Tolan, he's got no magic, and he's got he can gadget some stuff, but I think this is bigger than gadgeting.
Yeah, you can't tinker with this one.
No, it's a sphere. It's a stone sphere. It's
It's a stone, and it was this big, right? Like a softball?
A little bit bigger. I think
A little bigger?
it's kind of bocce ballish.
Okay.
It's kind of, it was always how I sort of thought of it, like crystal ball sized.
Okay. All right, cool.
Neat.
Hi.
Hi.
You can head down the street, and in context, you are only slightly further ahead than Tolan and Averick. You don't see them, like Nadi. I'm assuming you probably have your own shortcuts to these places, and very, very soon you can arrive at your house. And as you step in, you can see a couple of suitcases packed by the door, which you recognize as Prim's. But you can't, your house is as you left it, and that rain is much lighter. You can still hear it echoing off the greenhouse, but it's much, much lighter.
Oh yeah, that's happening. Let me put these over in the oven to help keep them warm for them. Hopefully they'll be here soon. But hey, Charlie, by any chance are you doing anything in the next couple of weeks? Because I'm going on a trip.
What?
Well, Prim, she takes me on this trip to her lake house. We go for like 2 weeks together. It's sort of a traditional thing, right? There's the season changes type of thing. And normally I would have someone who would watch the plants for me and take care of them, but she's not doing that anymore. And I kind of need someone to just, check on the greenhouse, make sure it's okay and everything's getting what it should and all of that. In fact, you're welcome to, stay here if you want to.
Okay.
Or if you'd rather, you can just come in and check greenhouse. I'll show you where the key is and everything like that. You don't even have to come into the house if you don't want to.
Alright. Okay, so a hint of just like sadness because she's like, we're my friends and now you're leaving. But just like no, yeah, I can do that.
Okay, I really appreciate it. Besides, you know how plants are, and if there's an automatic watering system I have set up, so it's not so much you have to worry about the watering, so much the worrying about, sometimes, they get bigger on you and they might need a little shifting around, and you know how it goes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. How long are you gone for?
Only for like the 2 weeks we go, and we'll be back. We always come back. It's no big deal, but it's just a nice place. We kind of go, we recuperate, and come back, and everything just feels a little less, crazy like and chaotic. Although, who knows now with the way things are? But it's sort of our bonding time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, if anything, it's a great time to go, what with everything going on here.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of concerning. I don't want to leave you all by yourself, but I mean, hey, you and Tolan are having conversations. This is good, right?
Yeah.
I know, but 2 weeks is not that long. I mean, it's not like it's 2 months.
No.
And
you better not turn it into 2 months. Your plants are gonna miss you.
Yeah, I know. And I really hope maybe I can try and get one of the cell phones before I go, and we could always text each other back and forth.
Do that.
Yeah. That would be very good to have around. Especially now, because now I'm thinking, would have been nice to give a Tolan phone number, to give Jean a phone number, and Paula have phone number, and
Tolan have a phone?
What was that?
Does Tolan even have a phone?
I mean, he has all those other things. Why wouldn't he?
Anyway.
And almost on that point, you hear a knock at the door, and Tolan, Averick is knocking on this door, just like, I am soaked. Like, as he's sort of like trying to hold this rock to him, Clyde is just dripping.
And muddy.
And yeah, so kind of caked in mud. he's gonna shake off. Like, go shake
know
off
he
over
is.
there. And he points over to the thing, and this dog just sort of grumpily walks over and just starts shaking off this mud. And this, he's still getting wet, but
Well, maybe more. Clyde.
Nandi would open the door at that point. Hi, you made it.
oh, hi,
We have Clyde.
Very-
He's a mess.
wet dog.
That's fine. Can she use her hedge magic to just kind of like clean him up?
Yeah, if you want to just
She'll like scratch his ears like, you got nice and muddy in the puddles.
and like you see him sort of like this smile comes on, and you actually see Averick sort of twitch slightly. Do that, and Clyde sort of has this smile, and it's almost like you know when like blow dry a dog or something, and all their fur just sort of ripples upwards. It's like that, and he sort of meanders in and pushes his way in and trots in very happily after that. And Averick sort of shakes it off and is like, "Thank you," and walks in and just puts this bag on the table.
Wait, does Averick end up dry too?
Averick is dry.
That's awesome. Yeah, sure, no problem. We got you some noodles. So
Oh,
there's food for you too. I popped it into the oven if you're hungry.
Really?
Yes, really.
Thanks. And he sort of like he looks around. He's like, "Can I sit down here?"
Yes.
Oh, thank you. And he
Make
just sort
yourself comfortable.
of awkwardly looking around, like literally up at everything in this new house he's in. He sort of slides into the chair. Clyde has trotted over to where the oven is and just flopped down by where this heat is coming from.
You can come in too. Don't forget, my father's a sailor.
Tolan sort of steps over the threshold. Thank you. And sort of looks around like for a coat rack or something, and he sort of hangs his coat up. But
There's like this little like coat / bench thing right by the door, and you can see there's all these hooks and everything.
yeah, so I think he kind of hangs up the coat, and I think takes a moment trying to decide whether to hang up the hat, kind of feeling weird of hanging it up in someone else's house, but also knows that it's kind of what he needs to do. He's very, very awkward, like sort of just lingers then at the front door and at the threshold. It's a lovely, lovely home you have here. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for thinking it's lovely. It's always nice to have people over. Are you hungry?
Yes.
Averick's like, "Yeah, he is," as he's sort of tucking into this this bowl of just a hot ramen. Just like, "Thank you so much. This is so good."
Of course.
He pulls out the tin and he goes, "Oh, here, you can have these," and hands her the tin of biscuits, because when you visit someone's house, you give them something. And so
You're welcome.
basically the tin of biscuits he stole from Ruined Bindings. And you probably recognize the tin as the tin from Ruined Bindings.
Yeah, okay. This desserts. Wonderful. Now you're going to sit down and you're going to eat. And we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
Okay, come to the table, please.
Well, you'll have to tell us what's happened with the girl in the shadows. We felt whatever you did out there.
Well, the feeling part, that was Charlie. I did something else.
His eyes sort of dart over to Charlie.
Just like avoiding eye contact. I am petting the dog.
Averick is not paying attention at all. He's literally just shoveling this food in.
Oh, thank you for thinking of us.
Well, I mean, it's what you do for people, right? We were going to meet here. I didn't think it quite fair. Hey, we had a nice yummy noodles, and then you come here. We've had dinner. We're nice and cozy, and you're not. So figured it's better to have something ready for you.
It's just unexpected. Usually Agni's the only one who does things like this for me.
Well, now you have two. Take a seat.
You don't feel as you're obligated.
Who said anything about the obligation?
Just making a statement.
No, it's never an obligation to, just do things that make other people happy and comfortable.
So I was thinking, I don't think it's safe for you to try to do something with this stone.
I honestly had no intention to right now, not until we have a better idea of what's going on with it. But I know you want that terrarium that helped hide me. I might have a better idea for it though, because that you have to play the shell.
Oh.
So.
Ooh, well. Huh.
I could try and make something of my own terrarium if you want.
Well, not to. Of course, anything would help, but the sphere, it's quite good at repeating back tones. If we play the shell to it, maybe it could reproduce the tones to activate the terrarium.
Well, I mean, hey, it's certainly worth the try.
Become part of the system. Become part of the system.
Everything interconnects, yes.
Everything interconnected. I don't know.
Okay, well.
He kind of looks at Averick. It seems to sometimes have a mind of its own.
Okay, well then let's do this. You're going to sit down and eat.
Oh, yes.
We can go into the greenhouse afterwards and try playing with it there. I have some of my terrariums in there. So you keep talking about distraction, so maybe those, might help.
Yes, or, as you said, create something new for it. Or even, make it a part of a terrarium.
That's what I was thinking, maybe literally make it look like one of my terrariums.
Its own system.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I think I have the right flowers and plants for it too.
So far, your instincts for these types of things has been spot on. I wouldn't want to make it. I wouldn't want to influence what you've been doing naturally. In fact, with something like this, and as old as it is, perhaps instinctual magic is the correct path, and not have me think too much.
Yeah. Sometimes it's best to go with your gut and just do what feels right.
He almost does it, but realizes, well, no, he almost does the, how do you do this?
Yes.
What are you?
Yes. But he refrains, seeing his, probably actually has chopsticks in his hands and slurping noodles, because while the hat kept him dry, it still was a damp evening, and so nothing quite like noodles. I think he's a slurper.
Hold on, I have a stuffed kitten. I'll be right, literally right off screen.
And you can sit there, you could slurp up these noodles and stuff like that, and the rain outside seems to calm down almost to a complete stop, and it's getting dark. It's pretty dark now. It's probably coming around to like 9 p.m. roughly sort of time, and Averick finishes, sits back. He looks very comfortable. As he sits back, you see Clyde sort of roll over onto his back and sort of stretch briefly and snore. And he looks at all of you. He's like, "Well, that was great. So thank you. But what are we doing now?"
Well, how about I get the terrarium with the shell? You try seeing if maybe it learns a couple new notes, since you said you were singing to it. I'll go work on something else, and I'll let you know when I'm ready for that.
Sounds good. Sort of looks over at Charlie.
Long hung up her coat, but she has grabbed a blanket and is like bundled and perched on some other chair, just like watching. And Al has just been like floating around very like nonchalantly is the best way that I can describe this, in a very feigning chillness.
So, what did you do? And more importantly, how did those shadows react to it?
So, Tuva was trying to put up barriers, which slowed them down, but they get stronger. They absorb magic in some way. I don't think it feels good in however way they feel things if they're alive. I don't actually know, but they kept coming. And eventually she would have run out, but I just tried to overwhelm them, I guess. It works for like electric currents. If you too much of a current on one thing, it'll break the other side.
So, interesting.
They took off. I don't know.
Well,
one of them is in a canal and sank.
No, they would be coming back with the terrarium shell. Yeah, he flushed it down the toilet type of thing.
So, if they're alive, I don't think that one is anymore.
well,
They didn't seem to make the effort to try and swim at all.
but
I don't know if they need it.
and the whole Undercity is down there, so there's there near the season tree. The city goes almost as deep as the season tree is tall, so it had plenty of places it could have found refuge down there. It's been a long time since I've been to Old Carnan. Things keep pointing me that direction, though. I'm not eager to return.
Well, you may not be eager to go there, but it might be calling for you.
It seems to be quite a few things calling for me lately. He sort of looks a little, eyes sort of go over to Averick for a little bit. I guess we should take care of first things first.
Yep. So here is the terrarium, and she'll push it towards you. And this is the shell.
Told him we'll get up. First, let's just sort of see a bit more what this is about. And he walks over to his coat and pulls out the disc that he had used sort of to help identify what the sphere was. Basically sort of places the terrarium on it, could you play the song that you played the night that you hid, and we can
Sure.
try to see what this does.
Okay, that's not a problem. And so I'll start playing it, and it kind of has almost a sort of like a sad sea shanty type tone to it.
And Alice, if I could use my improvise, which is a cost talent, so it costs 3 intellect, and I think whether you want me to roll as well, but I'll go ahead and knock 3 out of intellect to try to get a read on.
Yeah, you shouldn't need to roll for this one.
Okay. I'll spend the cost of using improvise though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As this tune starts to sort of literally drift through the air, you feel as well, it's more as this terranium is placed on this disc, it starts to glow very gently. And it's more that you can tell it's like it's being given magic.
Mm-hmm.
But if the tune stops, it goes.
Okay. Does it seem to be like some sort of cloaking magic, or is it just
It's
that it
literally just stronger magic.
it's that it was just a brighter beacon than Nadi? Well, and I'm assuming nowhere near like the magic that's being given off by the sphere when it sings.
The sphere itself, when it sings, is, as you say, a beacon, a powerful one.
Yeah.
However, you have noticed at the moment it is silent and there is nothing radiating from it at all. Almost like it's switched off.
Yep.
Or asleep.
Interesting. Well, that answers a question at least. I was hopeful that you had created a cloak. It seems as though it's more just a bit of a brighter light than just the light from yourself and Prima.
So it's like shining a flashlight in someone's eyes directly.
Pretty much. It's hard for them to be able to see a candle when you're shining a flashlight at them. The problem is that when our stony friend here decides to hum a tune, it's a lighthouse, and the flashlight disappears. I think your idea is probably the best we've got. Follow your heart, follow your instinct.
Okay, well, I don't want to be rude, but I think I better go work in my greenhouse alone for this one.
I absolutely agree.
All right, well, there's Charlie, you know where the tea is and everything if you guys want to have tea, and I guess just get comfortable.
I do have a quick question. And I go and get the bag with the sphere in it, and I hold it out and I say, careful, and I'm going to ask, you don't have to, because I don't know. Whenever Averick touches this, it gives him a buzz, almost a shock, almost like an electric current. I'm wondering if that's just him, or if that's for any magic user.
Well,
But I also know you all both are very unique in your magic, so I'm not...
look, I'm going to have to touch it to put it into the terrarium when it's time.
That is true.
So maybe
Okay.
best to see what happens just by holding it and not worry. I'm fine. I have,
Yes.
I have
And-
my guard up.
Well, and if Charlie is able to send magical interruption, static, whatever you call it, in case I don't want you touching like you're touching an electrical wire and that you can't let go. So
Okay.
a finger first.
Just touch it. Literally just boop.
A boop on the nose.
Yeah.
And Prima would actually like boop Clyde on the nose hearing that.
Yeah, you see Clyde sort of like recoil slightly, and you know when like Great Danes just take a paw and no, like that.
Yeah.
Creeper at that point.
Great Dane versus Otter. Yeah.
Yeah. Not like in an aggressive way. It's that
Oh
she's
right, no, I do just
a push away.
All right, so I guess take it out of the bag first.
Tolan will take it out. When Tolan touches it again, takes out the bag, does it start singing again? Because last time when it was quiet, as soon as Tolan touched it, it began to sing.
It just warms up.
Okay. Okay. He holds it out to her.
Ready?
As I'll ever be.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, boop.
And you get a static shock as if it's trying to repel you almost, like it's like a getaway sort of thing.
Okay, well that doesn't like me. Or at least, yeah.
It's not a painful thing, it's like literally like static shock.
Yep, I get whatever you mean. Yeah.
See? Like Afric sort of looks over at the D and then Charlie and then to Tolan like
Yeah, it's kind of like this. And Nadi would actually go over to the carpet and like she'd scuffle around in her slippers and she'd come back over to Tolan and like touch his elbow.
Ow!
It's what it does.
Well, I didn't need
Look,
to
you're Mr. Research, man. I figured you'd want to experience something close to.
you can hear Avric's like sniggering, but he's not looking at you, he's like deliberately looking away.
Yes, I'm sure it was just for the scientific research aspects of it, Nadi.
Well, no, yeah, so you know what it feels like for us.
Maybe
Gives
we
you
should
frame
try
of
it
reference.
again.
Well, now that would actually be intentional because it was kind of funny.
You're not helping, Avric.
I'm not trying to. Like, I mean,
So,
Alright. You hang on to that until I absolutely need it, because I don't want to hold that too long. I think I can handle, a quick into it goes, but that's definitely going to be the last thing to add.
it didn't shock you through the bag, so I can put it in the bag for you, and you can kind of spill it out into where you need it.
Well, that's true. Okay, yeah, put it back in the bag and then I'll go work on stuff.
Puts it back in the bag and hands it to her.
She's going to like threateningly and sort of like shuffle her feet away.
Tolan backs away. No.
Avric sniggers some more. Just-
And then she's going to go into her little greenhouse and Tolan, you will see her sign.
Her sign go up. Well, she follows directions. He then looks at Charlie.
You want tea?
Yes, that'd be lovely.
Oh, okay. She has got so many teas. It's
Something
kind of ridiculous.
not fruity. More
It's a face.
just dark tea.
All right. I make myself something fruity and herbal, but
Yeah.
very told, I think I'll pick like a.
got like Clyde sniffing around you, like as soon as you head in that direction, he sort of stands up and starts just moving around you.
Like 1,000,000% more friendly towards this dog than any other person except Betty.
I mean, is this sort of a small? Is this like a small room, or is she gone into, or is it into another room to go where the tea was?
I think it's
It's all kind of like a open floor plan.
Open floor plan. Okay.
Yeah.
like table
Yeah.
is here and like kitchen and stuff is like right next to it almost. I'll just I don't know, pull out some like black tea, lemongrass or something. Put on the pot and lean back against the counter and just kind of look expectantly.
I've been trying to figure out pieces to a puzzle. And there's still things that I can't connect. But if there's anything I've learned in all of my travels and going out beyond the city and across the sea, there's something that's always been true. And that is this world and the magic that flows through it. There's no such thing as coincidence. When I was younger, I was always used to think, oh, I got lucky. Or wasn't that a interesting turn of events that led to where we are? When the events that happened 8 years ago, where my experiments, my research destroyed the Gardenia district and everything else. He sort of looks guiltily towards Averick.
Say anything, he just sort of keeps looking forward.
I screamed into the universe, to the void, in my mind and out loud. Why? What purpose did this have? How did this fit into some type of plan? And I still don't understand it. But that perhaps, for some reason, it was necessary for what was to come. At the center of that artifact, at the center of that accident, that event, was an artifact that I had brought back. Something like I had never seen before. Intricate, exquisite. Something that touched upon the very currents and bonds of magic itself. Something that I hoped would change everything, revolutionize the world. But when we turned it on, that's not what happened. I lost my Inanakwe, the Gardenia district, the fallout. Fates changed for so many people. So, locked it away. Everything, all the research, all the pieces, everything connected to it, I locked away, sealed. But I thought, against any type of intrusion, magical or mundane, even the loss of magic, it would still fail safe. That artifact and everything attached to it is now missing. And the only way I can think of those vaults that I had created to be opened was the magic to still flow, but somehow be muddled so that it would disconnect the concept of those vaults from the actual creation to allow a different idea to break those locks. I'm not accusing or even asking. I'm only wondering if you learned how to do what you talked about this evening, do you know if others know how to do it as well? Because I'm horrified of the idea of someone, even with perhaps good intention, reawakening the same thing that I awoke 8 years ago that destroyed so many things. I'm even more worried that that sphere would be the thing that could power it to be even stronger than anything that when I turned it on, it was powered. He sort of chokes up by just a single Inokwe. That sphere, that stone, would supply so much more.
You see Clyde can't help but move from Charlie and sort of pads over to Tollan. And again, that sort of flump against the legs.
I'm mulling this over and just take the kettle off just before it's about to whistle and pour this tea and set his down in front of him and sit kind of across the table very gingerly. I've never met anyone who does magic quite like me, and to be honest, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. So if it's something you want to try, I'm probably willing to bet and I don't think I want to.
It was me just trying to figure out how all the pieces fit. There's a shot in the dark that you might know something, so that we can try.
I'm not saying I wouldn't help. Really wasn't. And I think I might know where your stuff is. Or at least who to ask. So
I think Tolan looks all but dumbstruck. That would be as I said, I fear they may not realize what they've acquired. And I worry more if someone knows exactly what they've got.
And in this moment, you hear a buzz, and Charlie, your phone is just vibrating just across the table where it's been put down. And the name on the phone is Faust.
one sec. One sec. Hey,
Charlie?
what's up?
Yeah, you need to come over now. Like, right now.
What?
Look, I don't want to talk about it over the phone. I need you to come here now. Okay? And you can hear like a tremble in his voice, if anything. He's like, Charlie,
Are you
please.
okay?
I'm fine. I am perfectly fine, but I need you to come here now, and we can't talk about it over the phone. Just trust me on this.
Okay. I'm across town. I'll be there soon.
It's fine. Okay. 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 And he just hangs up.
I need to go. I think I'll be back. But are you and Averick okay? No.
We'll stay here.
Yeah, we're fine. Are you fine?
I don't know yet. Tell Lydia I'm going to see a friend. It should be fine, but he seemed worried. So.
It's dark out. It's like it's pitch. Like, hang on, and he sort of like starts like patting around, and he pulls out, which is your last trinket, Charlie. He pulls out of his pocket because he is a bit of a tinkerer like Tolan. He's appalling at it most of the time. He's like, oh, these are a bit weird, but try them. And they look like a pair of glasses. But as you look them on the sides, you see these two like little words, Alice. Like,
Dials?
like, yeah, kind of like dials on either side. He's like, just flick them over and you'll be fine. And if you twist them, you see the lenses sort of shimmer green very quickly and then go clear again. Like, just so you can see where you're going.
Night vision goggles.
Dude, thanks.
That
And they're
is-
just like
You're becoming a superstar.
they're like almost like these brass like glasses. They're like, they look like glasses.
Yeah, she totally just takes off the glasses that she was wearing, puts them down, and replaces them.
Okay. Just let us know maybe when you get there.
Tolan sort of smiles at Averick's gadget that he's made and begins to open his mouth to critique and then shuts up and then does not.
He literally sighed, looks at you, he's like, I've got a clunkier pair if you want to look at that. Like...
Tolan, one moment, and he walks over to his jacket and pulls out this little flip phone and has to look at the back of it, and where taped onto it with a sheet of paper is the number. And if you need us, you can call it. He sort of just holds it up to her, where literally on the back of the phone is written the phone number of the phone, because he didn't remember his own phone number because he used it so
this out. She's just like, well, be damned. And puts in this number, and just like, that's probably a really good thing because that he doesn't have a phone. And
he looks at
honestly thought this place is
everyone doesn't have to have one.
You should have
They're really useful.
Like, and again, gestures over to Charlie, like.
Well, this once, I guess. Okay, fine. I'm not going to be one of those things, the screen and the buttons. And
you don't have to have one of those, just a phone.
Hi. She walks away.
They sort of open the door and leave. And you can hear Averick behind the door just like, they're kind of handy. Like, just like, push this on it.
Tolan drinks his tea angrily.
After a while, he'll
We're
take out
forgotten.
this like second pair of clunkier glasses just to like lay them on the table to see if Tolan says anything, but he won't say anything.
Yeah, I think he probably picks them up and starts looking at them, and after a little bit of silence, goes, "What I said earlier, it wasn't fair."
What?
It's not that you've ever had to forgive yourself. It's that I haven't forgiven myself yet.
Then we should probably both start doing that.
I guess we should.
They're ugly, aren't they? And he looks down at the glasses again. He's like, they're hideous. They were the prototype.
But clever, though.
Clever, though. Yeah, no, I get it. Like, it's... The other pair are better, I swear.
Oh, I can tell. Tolan looks at these very closely. Does he notice the way that they were formed, being something familiar to him that Averick doesn't necessarily maybe realize?
At the corners, it's almost like the lenses are welded to the arms.
Yep.
But you definitely see two fingerprints as if they've been pressed and welded to the metal.
And Averick just sort of looks at them and looks back at Averick. I'm sure the others are much more elegant, but function before form is sometimes just as important. Lord knows some of my recent... You did see... I hope I didn't ruin your doorknob.
No, it's
Not the most elegant
fine.
solution I've
It's
ever...
all right. It's old anyway. It needs replacing, full of dents and stuff. So anyway, I wouldn't be seen dead in these. And he said he's sort of gesturing to these glasses again. But yeah, you're right. They function. It's dark outside. Maybe no one else will see them. I'll see them, but
There you go. You use them at night. No one can see them, but so it doesn't matter what they look like.
yeah, I suppose. And we hop over to Nadie. What are you doing in the greenhouse? How are you doing this?
I've walked into the greenhouse and I have it in its bag, and I just sort of rest on this little side table I have right next to the door. And I leave it there and I walk a little bit further into, and I just sort of close my eyes and I take in a very, very deep breath a couple times, as if sort of just to calm myself and clear my mind. And my eyes suddenly snap open. And the first thing I'm going to do is go over to where there's like these shelves of different figurines, and they're all different animals and everything like that. And she grabs one that looks almost like a serpentine type creature, and it's actually a dragon, and it's made out of black onyx. So she grabs that one, and it's probably about the size of her thumb. And then she immediately shifts over to another dragon-like shape, but it's white, and it's like this milky white with like this slight shimmer to it, and it's made of moonstone. Okay, start with these. And she goes over to a desk and she places them down next to each other, but almost at the tails touch, but the mouths are facing outward. And then she's going to go down quickly one of her garden rows, and she's going to pick up some purple heather. She goes, "You're going to need to be used to." And she rushes back up and she sets it between the two dragons. And then she goes over to where she had just gotten the new plants from the night market. And she's going to grab one that looks like night and one that looks like day. And finally, she turns around where there's all these different pots and terrariums and everything. And there's one that looks almost like a little house, is the best way to describe it. So she picks this up, and probably because of the scale of this orb, this is what's going to best fit it. So she sets it down on her table, and she starts just filling it up with the gravel and everything like that. And she doesn't even know she's doing it, but she's kind of humming to herself while she's doing it. And it's reminiscent of the tune she was playing on the show. And so as I'm getting it all pulled together, I start placing the heather in the back. Okay, this we need for protection. And then we'll put night on this side. And she takes the flower that looks like it's the night galaxy. And then let's really make sure it's protected from evil. And she picks up the dragon, the black onyx dragon, and places that on the same side as the night flower. And then pick up the day flower, put onto the opposite side. And you can tell there's this area that's purposely being left open. And then the day flower goes on the other side, and the moonstone dragon, because we really need this to happen. And she'll put it in right on the other side, and then sort of step back a little bit. And again, taking in the deep breaths and just sort of closing her eyes a little bit more. And she'll turn and she'll face the orb in its bag, and she'll walk over and she'll pick it up, and she's just gonna kind of hold it up. You'll need some protection. Let's see if this does it. And she'll turn and just very carefully, almost as if like afraid it might spill out too quickly, gently puts her hand on top of what ended up being moss that's just sort of surrounding it and everything else. And then just letting it roll slowly, and she's going to let it just roll off. And it sits in the center so that it has the purple heather spiking up behind it. She has the night flower circling on the left side and the daytime on the right side, and the two dragons sort of facing out. So whoever's looking at it, you will see those two gaping mouths, and one that has its tail, looks like it's about to protectively curl around the orb, and the other one that's sort of raised as if ready to gather any attention that it possibly could. And then I'll close the door to it and look. Okay. Yes, this is your home. This is where you stay. This is for you. And gingerly pick it up and start walking out to the other room.
As you were placing this, you realize that whilst you were humming, it was humming back. And you managed to like shuffle it into this orb that's got big like chunks out of it, where it's obviously been dropped over these maybe thousands of years. Like you can see the big chunks out of it, so it awkwardly rolls, but you can get it upright. But you're so focused on this, trying to get it right as you move it, you realize as you go to close the door as you finish, there's not a crash. That's the wrong sound. But you realize some of your terracotta pots with plants in have been hovering whilst you do this. And as you close the door, they don't break, none of them break. If anything, they almost just very delicately return to where they were placed. And the humming stops.
I would have to go, hello? Somebody here?
There is no...
Looking at the orb. Okay, now I'm getting pulling. Okay, yep. Come with me. Let's show them off. And I'll come back in. And it's actually, it's like a good size because of the size of the orb. Oh, yeah.
You see Averick sort of perk up as soon as you walk back in, and he sort of slaps Tolan on the side as you walk back in, like, you're muted, Tolan.
Tolan gets up to try to. Do you need help? Averick, here, help us.
Here, you want this on that disc thing to see if magic-y stuff?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, well, let me explain what I did here. Heather, that's flower for protection. Okay? These are no flowers I got the other day at night market. One is for night, one is for day. Black onyx protects from hostility. Moonstone helps wishes that need to come true come true. So here's the hoping.
Averick, Tolan listens to her describe it, and he just takes the disc away. This one isn't about science, or training, or analyzing. This one's about faith.
Averick gives you
It's
the
right.
weirdest look.
Yeah.
Which tea did you drink?
Right? Like, Averick looks over. Are you feeling okay?
She didn't give him the bedtime tea, did she?
No, but he wouldn't drink the herbal stuff.
Okay.
Look, I like to take things apart, break them down as much as anyone. But just as I was worried about you, Nadi, about your stray ideas influencing a creation, an invention, something like this, with what little bit of analysis that I could do to it, would only make there be a question or there be a doubt. So, what I'm going to lend to this is faith. That, in this instance, the instinct needs to match the invention, not necessarily the idea. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I hope it works. I really do.
I know it does.
Forgot to mention, I kinda hum when I make things.
don't think that'd be a bad thing.
Okay, well, you turn back.
Huh. No
And
doubt.
let's just say I had a few hanging pots that I didn't have before.
Oh, the kind you hang on hooks.
Yeah, but they're terracottas and they lift up on them.
Okay, I'm making tea. Averick gets up and moves back over to the kettle.
Well, that's new.
But it stopped as soon as I put the orb in here and I closed the little door for it and said, "This is your home."
It did magic. Here I was teaching it language, and you taught it magic.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Yeah, but don't we have to worry about, like poof, boom, kaboom issues, like it break or, do something bad.
In your house, in your terrarium, in your place, it did something magical. Because your space is a place of magic. You lift people up, Nadi. It is a primitive, instinctual intelligence. You were being uplifting. And so it lifted things up.
And as you two are having this conversation, Averick makes the tea and puts it down on the table. And in this huge terrarium, you see that almost oil slick shimmer that goes over this orb, revealing again all those carvings of all those animals and people, almost in a just symmetrical lines all the way around. And we hop over to Charlie. And Charlie, you can walk through. Are you putting these glasses on? You're muted, Charlie. No, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Okay, I definitely try them on. I don't think I need them necessarily to get where I'm going because I know exactly where I'm going, but also just like I was just given a cool little like magic thing. I'm gonna try it. And,
yeah, you can pop it on and everything is green. These are basically night vision glasses and everything is clear as day on that. And you can see absolutely everything. You can see a couple of people down the street that seem to be on their way home. And you can make your way to Faust's and his tattoo parlor. Because you know where he lives, you've been here before. And the rain has eased up and you don't really pass anyone on the way. It is late at night, all the shops have shut down, but you can see that doorway where you know it leads upstairs to another sort of an attic sort of apartment. The door is open, and if you want you can walk up the stairs and you see that the red door to Faust's tattoo parlor.
The whole way there, she had that like kind of unnoticeable charm thing that she does just to be sure. And she's just gonna listen at the door before knocking.
Yeah, you hear pacing. If anything, you hear pacing.
All right. As soon as I don't hear voices, I'm just gonna like knock and it's me.
Yeah, you hear the footsteps straight to the door open, and it's Faust. He looks like he's been working non-stop. He's just in his t-shirt, his jeans, his backwards cap to keep his, like, currently bright pink hair out of the way, like, because he smoothed it back, and you can see some of the tattoos on his arms where he's rolled up his t-shirt, just moving around, almost in a panicky sensation, very much like he seems to be in. He's like, oh, thank God. And he grabs you almost by the scruff and pulls you in and shuts the door and locks it. It's like, you weren't followed, were you?
I don't think so. I took precautions.
Okay. Just come with me. And there's only like a couple of rooms off of his studio. You know that he sleeps here, he eats here, everything happens in this small room. And he's like, I don't want you to freak out, okay? Just don't freak out. In fact, sit down. Like, and he sort of like drags this chair over and just puts it in the center.
Dude, you're not helping your case.
I know, I'm sorry. You know I'm not good at this. I don't do this.
Sit down.
I need you to just, you know, be fine. This is fine. And from behind you, you hear, Charlie? And Miles stands in the doorway. And Faust walks over to him, takes him by the arm, and leads him across the room and sits him down at the kitchen table. He doesn't do anything. He just says your name over and over again, almost as if he's very tired. You see his Inarque pad over like the floorboards, like you hear the claws of this eagle clank over and just sit next to Miles. And Faust looks at you.
Just like reach my hand over to like across the table and just like, Miles?
And Miles, staring at you almost blankly, reaches over and covers his hand with yours. Charlie. And it's like he's trying to recognize you. And Faust looks at you, he's like, I don't know what he's doing. He just turned up on my doorstep.
Just reach the other hand over and just like cover the other hand. Just...
He's not being himself, Charlie.
I can see that.
And he sort of frowns.
Yes.
And he's sort of almost like a realization. Charlie. He won't say anything else. He won't tell me where he's been. Nothing.
I like.
And like Faust leans into you, he's like, there's not
Yeah.
a scratch on him.
I want to try something where I just, once again, just open up to like that full force empathy thing. And it's not like what he's thinking, but it's what he's feeling. And I know there's something off, but I don't know what. And of course, I'll be getting whatever Faust is feeling, which is extreme anxiety as well.
Faust is freaking out. And Faust doesn't tend to freak out. You remember him as being one of the calm ones in the group. And you get the feeling he's been pacing for a while. You can even see his phone still in his hands with your name up on the screen. If like you think maybe he was about to call you again if you hadn't arrived at that moment. And Miles looks at you and lets out a sigh. And it's like his shoulders relax and he really is like, I haven't seen you in ages.
Yeah. Where's that?
And he pauses. And like he struggles to recall. I don't know. And this eagle sort of, again, hops up onto one of the chairs and stands on this table. And it's sort of turning its head, looking at Al, almost like the same way Miles is slowly recognizing you. I feel blocked off. And he pauses again. And what you can tell Charlie as you reach out, it's like there's a barrier there. You recognize barriers because you've had them put in your head before. But Miles slowly smiles, and you can see the eagle twitch here and there, and starting to get a little bit more movement as it's like it and sort of hops up and down just a couple of times as it recognizes Al. And Miles blinks a couple of times. He's like, "Oh my god, Charlie!" And he gets up and he just sort of walks over and he just pulls you into a hug, like a really close hug. He's like, "I haven't seen you in ages. Have I?"
She's like gripping, and she's like clinging to the back of his jacket, shirt, whatever is
You can
there.
feel like he's wearing that same denim jacket that he's now grown into.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear like a gasp in his voice. "Oh, I'm so happy to see you." And you feel him grip the back of your jacket just as hard. As Faust stands there looking at the both of you, utterly confused. And that's where we'll leave this week's episode.
Yeah, the rest of us are just as confused as Faust. What was that? What was
Mars is
that?
back.
Charlie's mad.
Oh, wow, oh, wow.
That's the pleasure, brother, but it's just not the time.
But he's back. Your brother's back.
Oh my god.
So, yes, awesome. So please check out all the links that are coming up in chat now. We would love for you to head over to the Discord and tell us either your favorite bits, your theories. One question I love hearing from people as well is what they think their IRL in Archway would be, because I have a slight obsession with that. Otherwise, I want to say a huge thank you to our amazing sponsors in the form of Bird and Storm, which is what I've been drinking my buckets of coffee out of this evening, and also the lovely Mayhem Press. You can check out all of their links over there. We do a rerun every Friday where we come in chat and relive it, because Junera once a week is not enough. Other than that, we'll see you next Monday. And keep evoking emotions, and we'll see you later. Bye.